Yeah, so it's all about the power of your focus. If you are, and mindset. So I'm a big believer in holding the energy and being what it is that you want to create. So if I come from a place of scarcity, I have to work, I have to make money, I have to pay my bills, I don't have enough, I don't have enough.
Hello, Empower Nation. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. I'm your host, Angela Duncan, and we talk all things money and business. Today's episode is sponsored by morewithangela.com, where we are bringing double-digit passive income opportunities from the wealthy to you. Keep more, make more, live more. Go to morewithangela.com today, schedule a call directly with me, and I will help you on your passive income journey. Today's podcast, I get to interview Erica from Gem Consulting Solutions. She has an extensive background in construction and technology, and she's utilizing everything that she has learned to help you create more value in your business, to invest in yourself. And we're going to talk about the energy behind how money flows. Hi, Erica. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. How are you today?
Hi, Angela. I'm well. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited to dive into this episode today. You've got a great background and you're doing some incredible things. So let's first start with your journey. How did you get to what you're doing today?
It is a great question. So my background is in architecture and construction management with, a lot of people probably, it's not surprising, construction is not necessarily known for having the most women that work in that industry. So I worked in construction management for about 4 years. And the last job I was on, only female on the job site. Literally the only person there. I mean, people thought I was the accountant, people thought I was the assistant, but eventually I gained respect over the years of working there. But what I realized is that I was kind of part of the problem and not the solution, in that construction is very antiquated, it's outdated, it's getting better every day, but they were not super tech savvy. So a lot of the stuff is printing, there's a lot of waste, there's a lot of like old processes. So I ended up leaving them and I moved to a startup. They were a construction tech company based out of San Francisco. So this is my first time ever working in tech. Like, I didn't know about tech. I could barely load a DVD player at the time, like this was all very new for me. But I loved it because basically what I was doing is I was traveling all around the country, all around the world, training contractors, subs, owners, developers, how to utilize the technology to make it more productive, more efficient, to make the end users' days just easier, get home faster to their families. So I was very passionate about that because I used to be that person. So here I am, I'm in construction tech and I'm doing that. And eventually the startup gets bought out by a huge corporate tech company. So I worked corporate for the past 5 years of my life. I really enjoyed it. I moved my way up. I eventually had a team of 20 plus people. I loved it. I was really passionate about the coaching and the mentoring aspect of it. But at a certain point, Angela, I started to feel like part of this large moving machine, and I didn't really have a lot of say. I didn't really have a lot of decision-making power. I kind of felt like I was just getting to these decisions and having to tell other people about them. And I'm kind of a person who wants to be involved and make decisions and have that power and really feel into my own sovereignty in that way. And so I felt in my heart it was time for me to make a move. So I left my corporate job and I started a consulting company back in January, Gem Consulting Solutions. So entrepreneur, new business owner. And since then, I am doing tech consulting, implementation, standardization around tech and how companies use tech, all different types of tech and how they work together. I also am building a communication course because for me, I've realized what really has helped me move up in any situation, in any relationship, and learning and growing really comes down to communication. So this is something I want to share. with people. Lots of highs and lows, as most people who do own their own business, they learn, wow, you can't be in two places at once. And you know, you can't clone yourself. And if it's not you doing the work, it's not getting done. So lots of learning in that, but I wouldn't take back anything. I'm so happy that I made the decision to go it on my own.
Yeah, and that's so not only is it two different, very different fields, but also two male-dominated fields, and bringing that together and then having you have the ability to kind of shine a little bit. And I can definitely understand, when you're used to being part of the team of collaboration, and now you're just distributing information, much different position. So that's pretty awesome. So talk a little bit about, you obviously have learned a lot over those years. I have a similar philosophy, I think, than you, is like investing the time in yourself. Tell me about what that means and why you feel like that's so important.
Oh my gosh. So for those of you or for anyone listening that either does an in-person job or a lot of it is remote, which was mine, a lot of it was remote. Your schedule is basically every single hour of the day is dedicated to a Zoom call or a meeting or taking time to do the actual work every day. And I mean, you could go an entire day just going through meetings back to back. And then at the end of the day, you still have to do work. So learning the balance, kind of the hard way, when you're just so overworked and you have so much on your plate, it's so important to schedule time for you. And now I'm learning this in even a deeper way because it is just me. It is only myself doing the work. I'm accounting, I'm service, I'm support, I'm sales. I play all of the roles in this business. And after like the fourth or fifth weekend where I was like, yay, I have the weekend, I can do more work on the weekend. I realized this is not sustainable. This is not going to work for me. I have to put the time in to self-care, to scheduling time for myself, to just do nothing, to just relax, and really stepping more into the being as opposed to the doing.
Mhm.
Is something that I'm really focused on as I begin to build this business for myself.
Yeah, and I believe in that too. I do a massage once a month, should be more, but during the massage, I can't be on my phone. So you put your phone in the locker, and then I'll go out to like the pool area and still leave my phone. And you feel like a little bit of anxiety to do that, but at the same time, I come up with the best ideas. Like I'll have a pen and a piece of paper, and it just the download is just amazing when you get away from the technology.
Absolutely. And to add to that, that's something I've really started to instill because when you work remote and you work corporate, and I was across multiple time zones for people on my team, I was constantly on my phone. I mean, from early in the morning until late at night. So now, I have more power in this. So when I stop working, I try to stay off my phone for at least like an hour to the hour and a half prior to me going to bed. And I'd like to get to a place where I don't even have my phone in the bedroom anymore.
Mm.
So I'm working towards that, but I do recognize how important that is to really just disconnect from technology when you can.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that you teach is about where money goes, passion flows. I've heard that before, but what exactly does that mean?
Yeah, so it's all about the power of your focus. If you are and mindset. So I'm a big believer in holding the energy and being what it is that you want to create. So if I come from a place of scarcity, I have to work, I have to make money, I have to pay my bills, I don't have enough, I don't have enough. Energy will create more scarcity, will create more anxiety. You will always be trying to rob Peter to pay Paul, and it will be a hustle. And I understand that because I've been in that space unknowingly. But also, if you feel like you are, I'll give you a perfect example. My mother, I love her. She's my best friend. She's a hair colorist. And I think when you first met me, my hair was purple, right? So we are now playing with the blonde. And my mom, literally, if you ask her what she does, she says she's a therapist that gets to play with hair every day with her best friends. She doesn't even say she's a hair colorist because in her mind, she's so passionate about what she does and she loves it so much. It's not a job for her.
Mm.
So when she shows up every morning, she's just happy and excited to be there and she gets paid for it. So learn, like seeing that side, like, I went up the corporate ladder and she just did what she was passionate about her whole life. And, at a time I was like, oh, I'm going to make way more money and I'm going to do this. And I have systems and processes. What I was not realizing is that my mom shows up every day with the mindset of abundance, the
Mm-hmm.
mindset of gratitude, and the
Mm-hmm.
mindset of just passion for what she does. Oh, and she gets to make money doing it. So when you change your mindset and how you show up, whether it's hanging out with your friends, whether it's actually working and you're making money, my gosh, the results change drastically. And it feeds in. Money is one of those things that's like, you make a little and then you get excited and you make more, and then it just builds and builds and builds. But it
Mm-hmm.
also works the same way if you come from scarcity. And it
Mm-hmm.
also works the same. So it's all about really feeling into what it is that you're passionate about and doing that, and money flows naturally because it's what you're bringing your whole self, your whole passion, your whole heart into that action. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. And you mentioned a therapist. I think that is true in her world, but
yeah,
also a lot of other industries as well, because we have that business and personal relationship. And when you have a good relationship with someone, you kind of become a therapist in a lot of aspects.
totally. You do. And I will tell you that is a part of my current job or my current business that I miss a little bit, because I had 20 plus people that I would jump on calls, and for an hour, I would just say, how are you? What are you doing? Like, how can I support you? And I didn't realize like how much I really enjoyed that, being
Mm.
able to support somebody else's growth. And of course, there's moments you step into that manager where okay, these are the things you need to do. Let's be very specific. Let's talk about process. But I think being able to hold space for other people and allowing them to solve their own problems like a good therapist does, wow, that's so powerful because it empowers you
Mhm.
to be able to make decisions that work for you. And it's not like, life taking, it's life giving in that way. So I
Yeah.
really love that.
When you do consulting, I think as women, especially, we kind of have a hard time maybe valuing ourselves or charging enough for our services. So, how do you kind of connect that or consult with your clients in your business?
That is such a great question, and it's something that I've recently really learned. So I have a really good friend. He's a businessman. He makes a lot of money. He's very successful. And I remember just about to start with my consulting business, and I had my whole thing laid out, and I was going to charge hourly, and I figured out my hourly rate. And he's like, "Well, what's your retainer?" And I was like, well, what do you mean? What's a retainer? I didn't understand. He goes, no, you have to ask for a retainer, because somebody that gets the luxury of working with you, they're going to pay you up front because of how good and how much value you bring to the table. And inside, my insecurities are screaming like, I'm not good enough. How could I ask someone for money up front before I haven't done anything for them? And I walked into my first client interview and I let my insecurities get the best of me. And I asked for a retainer, and he immediately said, it's not possible for him. And I was like, that's okay. You don't have to do it. I don't need it. All right. And I left there going, I will never, ever do that again. And it was a great lesson. So the second client that I signed on with, I had a little bit of that uncomfortable, okay, this is what we're going to do. Here's the plan. This is my retainer. And he kind of looked at me a little bit, and he said, okay. And I said, yes. And it was such a moment of just like self-belief. So to answer your question, yeah, it was really hard for me to even send my first invoice, even have a conversation around this is how I work. And
Mhm.
there's no negotiation. I know my value, and therefore this is how much I charge. And I'm so grateful that I got to experience the opposite side of it, of like backing out and feeling insecure and then being like, why didn't I do that? And at the end of the day, it comes down to how much you value yourself. And
Yeah.
it's not about anybody else, right? It's how much do you value yourself? And if I'm passionate and I'm good at what I do and I love what I do, money flows. If I
Mhm.
feel, insecure, if I come from scarcity, I'm not enough, you're not going to get that retainer. So it really comes down to mindset as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, I agree with that too. Because recently I've started to have people ask me to do on-site location podcasts to help promote their business. And I thought, that's great. Let's do it. But here is my fee, which is going to cover my time and
Right.
my whole team that comes out for it. And you have to pay it up front. And if you're not okay with that, then sorry, I'm not going to, put you
Hi.
on my schedule. And because I've got to pay my guys a retainer up front too. So if they're not willing to do that with me, then I'm not willing to put in the time. So that was definitely a mind shift for me because I would ask for it later,
Right.
but now I realize I do have to ask for it up front.
Absolutely. And something I'm learning now as a one woman band, as an entrepreneur, is that I am trading time for money. And so something I'm really leaning into now is leveraging passive income, being able to duplicate or leverage the online space in order to start making money when I'm not actually doing anything. So this is something that came out of experiencing I have to work to make money. I have to work. I have to show up. But what if I'm sick? What if I'm not feeling the best? What if I get busy that day? I can't show up. Well, then I don't get paid. So
Mhm.
now I'm really feeling into this new space, and it's just recent for me, but I've leveraged the online space to start making some passive income, and it feels really good. And it's just filling my cup and making me feel even more valuable. So when I do show up for my consulting gig, I'm just like, let's go, let's make this money. I'm so excited to be here because I know there's other money that's being made in the background too.
Yeah, I think people can tell that too, especially as a new business and you're kind of needing the income. They can tell that in your presentation.
Totally. Absolutely. They can.
Yeah.
Sure.
What's the future look like for you and your company?
I would love to, at a certain point, bring on more people. I would love to train people to do what I do so that I can take more of like a background approach and put more energy into building up the online space that I'm working in as well. And it's been really amazing because, again, I recognize it's important to diversify. And I know you know this very well. It's where are you putting your energy? Where are you putting your time? And I enjoy being in front of clients. I enjoy being able to consult. I enjoy that. But I recognize there's time and energy that has to go into doing that. And there are other ways that I can also bring in money to be able to, build up my bank account while I'm not doing those things. I also am an avid Pilates girl. I love rock climbing. I really do prioritize things that are important to my health, moving my body. I take a lot of supplements. I'm all about having the best mindset, mind, body, and spirit. So when I think about the future for myself, it feels like I'm doing less and I'm making more. And it's
Mhm.
it's more on the like leveraging the passive income side while also mentoring and coaching and bringing new people in to help them to start to be able to do the same thing for themselves. So
Yeah.
that's what the future of my business looks like.
Yeah. So not only are you impacting your clients in a positive way, but bringing team members on, teaching them, now you're impacting them as well.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. And I think as, women, we are supportive of each other. And I absolutely love that. That's a big reason why I do the podcast. I get men asking to be on it, and I say at this time, that's just not where my focus is.
Right.
And I'm like, I accept that and I'm very confident in that. And that's the delivery piece of it. You have to be confident as well.
I love that. And I will tell you the minute I met you, to give you some background on me, I told you I went architecture, construction technology, which most people would say that's very masculine, like line
Uh-huh.
of career. And what I really love and appreciate about you is that you really lead from your feminine, and I can feel that in you. And that's something that I'm really leaning into now as an entrepreneur and business owner. I really think it's important to empower myself through my own feminine energy and my intuition, as well as empower other women as
Yeah.
well. So I can see myself working with more women in the future because I've always worked with men, always. So
Yeah.
something new and different, and just empowering people to lean into their own passion and be able to create more for themselves.
And I love how, you're using the word empower, but I feel like each of us have such a different definition of what it means to us. So I've heard people say it's like overused, but I don't think so because it can mean something very different. Just like the word money, just like the word consulting is very different to each person and how we bring our own talents to the table, our own gifts to the table to be able to help people.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's about your relationship with money. It's about your relationship with the word and power. Everybody has their own background and understanding of what things are. And, when I say I'm a consultant, sometimes people go, well, what is that? What do you consult? What do you actually do? And
Yeah.
I'm like, how much time do you have? Because I do quite a lot of really cool things. And I have a variety of things that I consult on, and it depends on the client and their needs. And I love that it's constantly changing and growing, and I'm changing and I'm growing, and it's not the same thing every day. And that brings me joy. I think for some people that might be overwhelming. That might be a little too much, right? So it really is just feeling into where you naturally find flow and what feels good for you. And to your initial question, that's where you should put your energy, because that's where money flows.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a fun question for you.
Okay.
If you could have a superpower or super talent, what would it be and why?
Okay, such an easy question for me, because I used to believe that I could fly as a child. I think I tried to convince my parents at one point that I could, and they were like, please do not try doing this down the stairs, right? But yeah, the answer is very easy. It's to fly, because I believe the most amazing feeling that you could possibly have. And when we think about excitement and things that give us joy, it feels like you're flying. It feels this big expansion. So physically, I would love to be able to just leave gravity and fly.
Yeah, and I would say so that is a common answer, but the reason why is so different for each person. And again, it just goes back to, the same word, but different meaning for different people.
Totally. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Erica, if our audience wants to get in touch with you, learn more about what you do, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Awesome. Yes. So I'm on Instagram. It's Rika531. I also am on Facebook. You can find me, Erica Lauren, and on LinkedIn as well, Erica.Gasparo. So whatever the LinkedIn.Erica.Gasparo. So yeah, you can reach out to me in any way you want. I can also give you my number and my email as well, Angela.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Erica, for your time today.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for tuning into Empower Her Money podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe, share this podcast, and leave a review wherever you are tuning in.